What's good, everybody? Welcome into the Early Edge, your daily sports betting show of record. We are powered, as always, by the almighty sports sign. I am your leader, the coach, and this is our Week 2 NFL Mega Preview, where we take a look at every single game on the board. It's not a place for best bets, although we will give out a few. It's about discussion, it's about information, and getting you set, getting the gears rolling as Week 2 starts Thursday night with the Giants and Washington. Now, last week, 4-2, 66% from this show. If we go 66% all year, we'll be the number one show in America, and it won't be close. That's how hard this business is. All right, let's bring in the stars of the show. I'm going 5 wide this week. Look at the beautiful faces. Now, the man last week who came out blazing, he's the number one NFL handicapper at Sports Science, so I've got to introduce him first, RJ White. Hello, sir.
Hi, Coach. How you doing? Excited to be back. It was a pretty good week one for all of us, and I think we're going to have another one here.
It's about being disciplined and playing the guys or the plays that the guys say, and not every game on the board. I learned that the hard way. Lady Killer, welcome back, sir.
I thought these full stadiums would have a lot bigger impact in week one, but 9 underdogs winning outright. I expect a course correction this Sunday.
That's exactly right. 4-12 favorites were last week. 25%, 7-9 straight up on the field. M Squared, I know you've been a busy man. DFS, you got things always rolling. How are you, bud?
Doing well. Yeah, you're right. These Tuesday, Thursday streams, they are tough. They got the lead up, have about a 1 minute break between the two, but we're doing well. Got a few games that I really love. Interested to hear some of these guys' takes on them. I know we'll have a disagreement, but yeah, a lot of fun. I think week 2 is going to be really, really interesting to see how these lines move throughout the week based on what we saw with the public taking a bloodbath in week 1.
It's interesting that you use the word disagreement because the next man I'm getting ready to introduce still owes me money. AB.
This is true, Coach. First off, as soon as we get off the show, we'll have that done too. I love the humility of our man, RJ White, who was on fire last week. It just comes in, yeah, you know what? We're going to have another great week. It's what we do. You know, it's my job. I'm a professional. I love it.
He is such a what we call it, method actor, if he was an actor, because this man stays right here every single time. That's our guy, man. We love RJ.
Well, I'll tell you what the problem was. Like, I'm in the super contest. I'm in the Circa Million. You put 5 picks in each of those. Collectively, I went 4-3 on my picks. The problem is the 3 I doubled up on, I went 0-3 on. So I got two and 3 starts in the contest. I don't feel like I had a really good week, even though pretty good at Sportsline.
I know. I played in a couple of those contests, and I was 1-4 in every one of them. So it is. I'm sure a lot of people struggled, because of what we just talked about with the lines. As I mentioned, we are 4-2. A little housekeeping before we get into our show today. As you know, we're starting all these different afternoon shows. We're calling it Early Edge Live. It starts with today's show. Let's go ahead and bring up the graphic there, Johnny. And then Wednesday, AB and the boys get you set for the week in college football. Then on Thursday, we're going to go full hour leading up to Thursday night football with the Giants and Washington. Then on Friday, our props special at 5. I believe it's 5 in the afternoon. No, it's 2 p.m. Eastern time. My apologies. And then Sunday, we've got 3 different shows. Our morning show, our noon Eastern, and then it's 7 p.m. Eastern time. And then on Monday, we lead all the way up to Monday Night Football as well. Now, here is my stat of the week. And I know Mikey will appreciate this, being the fantasy guru that he is. Aaron Rodgers, this is from Matthew Berry at ESPN. Aaron Rodgers finished week 1, guys, as a 35th rated quarterback as far as fantasy points is concerned. Now, why that's funny is there's only 32 teams. So 3 backups had more points than Aaron Rodgers. How about that? Crazy. But that's the NFL. Mikey, your thoughts?
I mean, I have to go look at the scoring, but I wonder how many fantasy points did Rodgers end with? Does anybody know?
I didn't see that.
Like 2. Something like
okay, that's
2.
what I thought. So the best part is it wasn't all injuries that came in and got him. Marcus Mariota came in for 1 play and outscored him on that run last night. So yeah, that was that's funny.
That is so crazy. All right, what we do on this show is we go through our initial picks with all the guys, and then we go in and break down every single game. And we do it quickly because we only have an hour to do it. All right, so RJ, you were the man last week. I'm going to let you start with your initial plays that you saw the line. You said, you know what? I like that. Give them to me.
Yeah, we're going to disagree on this one, but I really like the Panthers. I think that line moved way too much considering based on the Saints' performance against the Packers. So, if you put that game in week 11, I think that it's not going to have as big an impact on what the look ahead number was, which was Pick'em. So we'll get into that in a little bit. Like the Cowboys +3, I think they're mispriced considering Chargers don't have a home field advantage. And Raiders Steelers under 48. Steelers offense didn't look good to me. And Raiders, I think, are going to be sluggish coming off that Monday night, emotional win. So I think that game's going under.
RJ will get way deeper into his picks as we hit each one of those games here during the hour. By the way, don't forget to pound that like button. Last night we gave away 10 year-long subs to Sportsline. We want all of you to be a part of the family. We'll give away one when we get to 100, two when we get to 200, and we'll see if we can go crazy like we did last night. All right, Lady Killer, I know you got one game that you got your eye on already. What is it?
Yeah, as I've said last week, I won't make a lot of early picks because of possible COVID. But if I see an outbreak on one team, I'm going to hammer the other team, and that's the Panthers-Saints game. The Saints have like 8 coaches. Michael Thomas, I know he's out anyways, but he tested positive. So I think the next round of big testing results are Wednesday, so we could have a handful of guys ruled out Wednesday potentially. So, yeah, I like the Panthers as well.
Yeah, there won't be any more of this, hey, moving games around this year to let teams play. No, you got COVID issues, you deal with it. Period. End of story. Mikey, I know you're on one of the games at least that RJ likes as well. What do you got?
Yeah, I'm definitely on that Cowboys game here. I actually have the wrong team favored in this one. That's not a full 3 points that the Cowboys are favored by. I make them about a 1 point road favorite. You put a little asterisk next to the road game. It's probably going to feel a lot more like a neutral site or a home game for them in Los Angeles. I think that's one thing that a lot of people might not really account for enough, especially early in the season here, but it is definitely not a road game for the Dallas Cowboys. Again, I make them 1 point better. So I'm going to be taking them outright here on the money line. Love what I saw from Dak Prescott. Love what I saw from the receiving core. Gallup is out, but Cedric Wilson is more than capable of stepping in. And, Tony Pollard, right? He's emerging. They're going to split reps between him and Zeke, and they weren't entirely unproductive against the best defense in the league in terms of stopping those two players. So I love the Cowboys. They got a pretty significant ratings boost for me this week after what I saw there and saw how healthy Dak really was.
It's easy to forget that they had the lead with 1:10 to go in that game to win the first game of the year on the road against the defending champions. I think they're better than people expect. I really, really do. All right, AB, I know you've got a few games that really caught your interest early. What are they, sir?
Yep. First one, I've got the Seahawks money line -250. Look, they're at home against the Titans. That number 5.5 is weird. The Seahawks are a weird team. I'd rather eat the juice than eat that. In terms of the spread, the Seahawks are 17-1 straight up in the month of September at home under Pete Carroll. They've only lost one single game. So I like the Seahawks here, and the public doesn't know yet, but they'll find out. This number will move. The Titans don't have a kicker. They don't have a kicker. So just keep an eye on that one. Second one, I like the Bears -3 at home against the Bengals, and here's why. Matt Nagy and Ryan Pace, head coach, general manager, their backs are against the wall. There's no more time left. Justin Fields, if he doesn't even start the game, he's going to get in and play more than what he did against the Rams in week 1. And I think that's a good defense that he can take advantage of. Plus, I think the Bears defense steps up a little bit more than what we saw against Los Angeles. I like the Cardinals -4 at home against Minnesota. Also, here's why. Because what you saw the Cardinals do against the Titans, they don't have to change the game plan one bit. It's the exact same defensive game plan. You take away the play action from Kirk Cousins, get after him, smash him. They're going to hammer all over Minnesota. Last one, Saints -3.5. Look, the most frightening thing at Sportsline is being on the opposite side of RJ White, so it scares me there. However, you look at the historicals, the last 2 years when the Saints have played the Panthers, when they played in New Orleans, those 2 games, Saints won by a combined 6 points. When they played in Carolina, those 2 games, they won by a combined 58 points. So there's something to say about Carolina, their spread covering it at home versus the road. Give me the Saints.
Would you feel better having a large former half WWE wrestler backing you against RJ? Would that make you feel a little bit better?
Yes, it would. Some protection would be quite nice because, being on this island alone is not fun.
All right. Well, I know a guy. By the way, quick trivia question. Can anybody tell me, Lady Killer, you better get this, what the longest pass was for Andy Dalton Sunday night against the Rams?
Probably 9 yards.
16 yards. that was it. There was nothing down the field. Absolutely zero.
I turned it off at halftime. I had enough.
Patty's like, I had enough. All right, let's jump into our top 5 games of the week according to me. And then the guys get to pick whatever one, kind of piques their interest. I'm assuming if he's laying 250, AB is going to be looking at that Seahawks game really, really hard. So let's go ahead and bring them up. Here's what I thought were the 5 most intriguing games of the week. Bills, Dolphins, 49ers, Eagles, Saints, Panthers, Titans, Seahawks, and Chiefs and Ravens. Let's just go around the board. Everybody piggyback. Mikey, let's start with you and just go up. What game of these 5 do you think most intrigues you?
I mean, it's definitely the Chiefs-Ravens game. We're going to see look, I think that Cleveland Browns team is a very, very good team. They lived up to it. They obviously covered the closing number on the spread there. I want to see this Chiefs offense and, frankly, the defense against this Ravens team. I know that they've been depleted at running back, although that doesn't really matter all that much. I want to see how this Ravens team comes out after losing that game and essentially giving it away there at the end. I think that this is going to be a fascinating game. I'm really interested to see what Lamar is going to do. It's another primetime game, a big spotlight on it, but easily the game of the week and early in the season for sure.
Maddie?
Yeah, I live in South Florida, so I'm going to tell you that the weather is going to be a major advantage for the Dolphins against the Bills. 1 o'clock start is going to be about 95 degrees and 100% humidity. Same thing with the Jaguars, actually, against the Broncos, and the Hurricanes against Miami State on Saturday, for that matter. So I kind of like the Dolphins at that number. The Buffalo offense did not look very good last week, but I could be one of those that moves up or down. It's like last week I liked the Dolphins or the Patriots at that number against the Dolphins, and then it went under 3, so then I switched and won on the Dolphins. So that'll be just one I'm going to wait on for sure.
RJ?
Yeah, the Chiefs Ravens is the obvious answer, but I'm kind of interested in this 49ers Eagles game too, because those Eagles that came out, I know they played a bad Atlanta team, but they did not look bad in that game. They looked really good on both sides of the ball, and everybody expects the 49ers are going to be good. Some people are picking them for as a sleeper Super Bowl team. So it's the second straight road game out east for the 49ers. Tough spot for anyone. If this Eagles team was legit, this might be a pretty good game. So we'll see how Jalen Hurts looks against an actually functioning defense in this game. But it'll be interesting to see if the Eagles can come out and pull up an upset win here.
Maybe.
Yep, Titans and Seahawks. And what I want everyone to pay attention to in this game is 2 things on the Titans side. 1, they have a brand new offensive coordinator in Todd Downing. That offense looked horrid against Arizona in week 1. 2, they have a brand new defensive coordinator in Shane Bowen, who is kind of running Mike Vrabel's defense. And I think Mike Vrabel will want to take that back if Seattle gets up early and starts putting it on Tennessee. So just keep an eye on Mike Vrabel during that game. It could get interesting.
All right, very good. So all of my guys looking at different games on the board this week. Now, we got 15 games to get through, and we've only got now about 45 minutes to do it. Continue to smash that like button. So, boys, this is what we do every week. I let one of you start the conversation. Whoever wants to jump in, and we just rip through the next 15 games in the next several minutes. So, RJ, since you had the best week last week, Giants and Washington, the number currently, -3.5. Washington is favored. The total is at 41. Your initial thoughts, sir?
My initial thoughts is you're going to be able to get 3. And at that point, I think you like Washington. They were 4.5 on the look-ahead line. I think it's going to settle at 3. And that movement's all due to the Fitzpatrick injury. The Giants didn't look good at all. So it's not like they had gained any strength on the power ratings there. But Heineke actually played well against a very good Chargers D after playing pretty well in the playoffs last year against the Bucs. So I don't know that he's a net negative in this game. That Washington pass rush was stymied by a much improved Chargers offensive line that we didn't expect in week 1. I think they're going to have a much easier time against this Giants unit, which we know is a bad offensive line. But I think the line movement here is wrong. I'd look to play Washington at 3 once that's available.
Yeah, I'll jump in on that. I think this game is entirely about Washington and the quarterback position. If Heineke plays well, which he can, Washington could scoot through this not easily, but somewhat easily. They're a good football team on both sides of the ball. We see the total sitting at 41. You remember last season when we would kind of make fun of NFC East teams in games in primetime because they were horrible? This might have the making of a low-scoring game. I'm not saying the game's going to be bad, but it could be few and far between when we see points. I'm not saying play the under because that number is very, very low, but it goes to tell you Vegas is not expecting many points at all.
By the way, I forgot to tell you, this is a completely interactive show. Many of you know, and if we have new viewers today, if you have a question for my guys, it can be anything. just throw it in the comment section, and we'll get to as many questions as we can as we discuss all of the games. Okay, moving on. We're good? All right, this one is very intriguing when you really look at it. Raiders at the Steelers, -5.5. Pittsburgh coming off that big win on the road against the Bills. The total sits at 47. Maddie, start the discussion.
Well, obviously, I want to see what injuries the Raiders came out of last night's game from. We won't probably know that till tomorrow. But the Pittsburgh defense got a lot of pressure on Josh Allen in week one. And Buffalo's offensive line is a lot better than Raiders. They started like 4 new guys. Alex Leatherwood looked completely lost. So my early lean here is on Pittsburgh, just again with the Raiders on a short week. Incognito may sit again. It looked like both Ruggs and Jacobs were banged up at the end of the game. So still maybe one I'll wait to see the injury report. But my early lean is on Pittsburgh with the early start and the short week for the Raiders.
Yeah, I agree with Manny that I would go with the Steelers, probably the way we're looking here. But, I have a best bet on this game. I had under 48, now it's down to 47 already. So I think everybody's kind of seeing what I'm seeing. Raiders not only play on that short week after Monday Night Football, they also had to play overtime. Vegas crowd elevated the Raiders in their first game in front of fans. They're not as good as they showed last week. So Steelers D shut down an elite offense in week one. At home, I doubt they give up much to the Raiders offense here. And I didn't like what I saw from Pittsburgh's offense. But this is certainly a matchup where they can have success against this defense. So I'm more a fan of the under here. Now it's down to 47. I think it's just going to keep dropping. So you want to get on it early.
Yeah. I completely agree there. I have this one all the way down to 44.5. I do not have a lot of faith in this Raiders offense at all in this spot against the Steeler defense. They are banged up. It's a shorter week for them after that really, really, really emotional game. They're going to come out flat in this game early. So the under is the top play here. I'm glad RJ's already on it. I do agree that this thing's just going to continue to drop. Yeah, they're going to take the air out of the ball too. They're going to run the ball if they have any sort of lead. They're going to try to. I think they're going to have some success with it as well against this Raiders defense.
Well, my question is this: in an exciting game where they didn't need him as much, how many targets is Darren Waller going to receive when they need him? About 6,000? Like he's going to be a safety valve the entire game, man. It's going to be wild.
It was kind of embarrassing after a while that he targeted him every single time. And then the one time he didn't, he was running free right down the seam. And I was like, that was a touchdown. And he didn't look at him there. So he's got to have a lot more confidence in his other receivers like Ruggs and all these different guys because they will figure out a way to double team Waller. You best believe that. So the consensus is on that game, play the under. You get it in now because it's only going to drop. And I'm telling you right now, if you don't believe me, then don't play it today. And then you're going to tweet me on Thursday and go, Coach, you guys were right. We already know that. That's why my guys are the best in the business. Moving on. Keep pounding that like button. We're getting very, very close to our first 100 likes and a year-long sub to some lucky fan. All right, Patriots and Jets. Now, Patriots on the road laying 5.5 coming off that 1-point home defeat as 3-point favorites last week. The total also very low in this one at 43. Mikey, start the discussion.
Yeah, I mean, my initial reaction here is I'd probably still lean under on the 43. I have this one all the way down to 41, but I'll take the Patriots in this one. I think that Mac Jones is going to get a win here. I think he's going to play well again, frankly. I kind of mentioned it on what was show? I guess it would have been yesterday's show or Sunday night's show where we kind of had a reaction to that game, and it was like a lot to take away and positives on both the Dolphins and the Patriots. I think that's the same story right here. So I would lean towards the Patriots -4. I think that they'll win this game by 6 to 7 points.
Yeah, my question is, when are they going to let Mac Jones just fully open him up, right? And I think that this is an opportunity to ease him into even more because the kid's aggressive. We've talked about him. He wants to throw. He wants to lead the team down the field, and he has no problem lining up and doing it. So I'm interested to see how much more they utilize him in the passing game because if it starts working early, they might go all day on it.
Yeah, you might be
Bill
right.
Belichick does not lose a rookie quarterback, so I don't think this will be very close. Plus, the Jets' best offensive lineman is out. Mekhi Becton and Zach Wilson was under siege on Sunday against Carolina, so this should be at least a touchdown win.
So Maddie, let me ask you, if it's currently a 5.5 and a couple in the comments section that said they got it yesterday at 4. Some books don't let you play till Tuesday or Wednesday, depending on who you are. But how would you get it in right now if you really like the Patriots at 5.5? Even though you just said you think it'll end up at 7, right?
I would get it before 6, yeah. So I'd probably jump on it now.
Okay, jumping on that now. All right, very good. Okay, moving on to the next game. And this is a team that looked really, really good with Matthew Stafford at quarterback. And he actually looked happy, running up and down the sidelines, slapping the offensive lineman. Everybody seemed to buy in. He had that big C on his chest that he's a captain of this football team. And I think he could end up being the difference maker that everybody made him out to be. So they're laying 4 on the road in Indianapolis against the Colts. The total 47.5. AB, start us off.
I like the Rams in this one, even though I'll say the Colts played better than that score against Seattle showed, and Carson Wentz played better. He didn't turn the ball over one time. He was pretty efficient in that game. The Seahawks were just a better team, and I think the Rams are a much better team as well, and we see how open their offense is. Think about this. Matthew Stafford had 2 passes on Sunday night that were 50-plus yard touchdown throws. That's as many as the Rams had the entire 2020 season. So Sean McVay knows that he has a run game, he has a pass game, and he's going to utilize that and eat clock where he can too. These are 2 somewhat conservative coaches, but McVay's got the nuclear arm, right, in Matthew Stafford. So, yeah, I'll go with the Rams here.
I'll caution. I think it's an overreaction game on both sides a little bit. It's important to remember who the Rams played while still surrendering quite a bit on the ground. Having Jonathan Taylor in here, Nyheim Hines out of the backfield, I think it's a spot where you're getting a pretty good number at 4 with the home dog here. If you can get it down to 3 or 2.5, then I would have more interest in that Rams team. But I do think that this team can keep it within the 4 as a home dog.
Yeah, I think the key here is the Colts dealing with injuries, and I like their chances a lot better of slowing down the Rams offense if Xavier Rhodes is back in the fold. So we look at that injury report, and it looks like he's cleared to play, and he's coming back in. Then maybe, the score is a little bit under than what people are thinking, and the Colts have a better chance of covering. So I don't really have a lane either way right now. Rams D had trouble with Montgomery, like you said, and that those Colts running backs could be in for a big game here. So I thought Wentz played well, considering he was interrupted first by surgery and then going on the COVID list in his prep. And he came out and had a pretty good game against what I think is a pretty good defense. So I'm with you. Do not underrate the Colts. They're not a bad team. They might even be the best team in the division after what we saw from the Titans.
By the way, I hate to go backwards, but once in a while, I got to call people out. I just have to do it. And we've got my man Chip over here in the comment section. And I want to put up what he just said. And I don't want him to get blasted too hard. But come on, Chip. Did you all see that awesome sideline floater touch pass Mac made? I'm telling you, this is the next Brady. Even it has a better personality. First of all, Tom Brady, we've seen the last couple of years, he's fantastic on Twitter. So he was just bridled in New England. He just couldn't be who he wanted to be. But slow the roll. We're talking about the GOAT. Anybody want to comment?
Yeah, I think that it's good to never, ever compare anybody to Tom Brady, and that's Michael Jordan included. No one. Don't compare anyone to Tom Brady. Yeah.
Stop it.
You deserve to get your hopes let down if you're already pumping Mac up as the next Brady. Like, I hope the Patriots spent a long time not getting to the playoffs, even if Mac is solid, because it's just you put way too much hopes on that guy. Just let him be the best Mac Jones he can be. Forget this Brady guy.
I'm not sure Mac Jones is better than Brady Quinn yet. Let's slow it down a little bit.
Does he still work with us at CBS, by the way? Or see? I think
he does. Absolutely. He's going to see that, by the way. Yes.
Okay. Good. Sorry, Brady. I knew you were still at CBS. My bad. All right, let's move on. Texans and the Browns. Now, this number, wow. In the NFL, anytime you have a double-digit favorite, it really it's eye-popping. It's minus 12.5. The Texans won last week on the road. I know it was Jacksonville, but they still look decent, I thought. The total is at 48. RJ, let's come back to you. Start the conversation.
I made this Browns 10 in my power ratings, but I'm not rushing out to back Houston like I was last week, because I could see this being 20, 25, 30. Browns impressed. I had them a little bit lower rated than a lot of people because they needed them to prove it. And I knew week 1 would be a test where they could prove it. And they certainly did. They went toe to toe with the Chiefs. They were a dumb mistake away from possibly winning that game. So Texans played way better than anyone expected, but who knows how much of that was the Jaguars. And I think a lot of it was. It looked like their coaching is a mess. Everything about them is a mess. That's probably a stay away for me. Maybe look to the over, expecting some garbage time scoring from Houston, but I'm not in a rush to back Houston, like I said.
Yep, I think RJ's correct. Stay the hell away from this game. I don't like it at all. This is a great game for the Texans to fall. I would fade them, but that number is so big that I don't want to play it on the other side either. Side note, what RJ was talking about. He released his power ratings article today using betting numbers to compare teams. I'm telling you, anybody that is out there looking at these games, check that article out. I'm not trying to do it because our man's on the show. It really is that good.
Yep.
This is the biggest Cleveland's been favored since '95, and Baker Mayfield is just 15-1 ATS in his career as a favorite. So I think this is too big. I'll be taking the points.
Okay.
Yeah. I make it 10.5. I'm not going to take the points though with the Texans at all. I do agree with RJ as well. There are going to be some garbage time scoring here. Or if you're just dead wrong, Cleveland can run it up and still push this one way over the total. But as of right now, I'll stay away. I think the most interesting thing about it is it's still, I mean, it's open for a teaser, right? So at this point, you're still getting the teaser at under a touchdown. I think that's interesting. I'm sure it's going to be incredibly popular at sportsbooks around the world this week. But as of right now, total stay away. I think I would probably literally need 14 to be able to take the Texans.
Wow. I might get it.
Wow.
We might get it too. And I hope we don't, because it's going to feel absolutely disgusting.
It'll be like that season with the Browns where all the sharps were on the Browns every single week. And it's just like, the numbers are wrong here. They should be covering this. And they did not any single week. They just kept on getting pounded.
By the way, I know we have a lot of new viewers as well. I get tweets all the time from people like, Coach, I'm brand new to sports betting. I got all these different questions. We want you too. It's just not people that play all the time. We want everybody here. So when Mikey talks about a teaser, Mikey, very quickly explain to the new bettors exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's just one where you can get a 6. I mean, you can get 14-point teasers at some sports books now, but you can get a standard 6-point teaser here. So I bring that line down to 6.5. You'd have to pair it with at least one other game where you'd be doing the same with 6 points in either direction. You don't have to use it on a favorite. You can use it on an underdog. You can use it on a total. Some books will let you do a same game teaser, which I actually have some interest in some of these spots now, where I'm teasing up 6 points on a total or down and with a dog. But that's basically what it is. You're basically bringing it down 6 points and you're getting it under a touchdown. I think it's going to be very popular this week.
All right, very good. Thank you, Mikey. Appreciate that. All right, this next game, AB already gave it out that he's on the Bears, and I'm sure he's going to have something to say about it. And Maddie's going to start it because he's a Bears fan. Good, bad, or indifferent. Now, I will be, Lady Killer, I'll be in the Chicago area this weekend. Your boy is going to go to Hammond, Indiana, Caesar Sportsbook for CBS Sports HQ. So I can only imagine what Chicago is going to be like if they can't cover this spread at -3 and the total sitting at 45. Talk to me.
I'd rather see you at that sport book in a Speedo than watch the frickin' Bears again. Honestly, I'm so absolutely tired of it. They're 12-4 ATS under Nagy's in their first season because it was Vic Fangio. They're 12-21 ATS since. He does not know how to coach offense. I don't know why Andy Dalton is playing. I mean, if this gets under 3, I'm probably going to take Chicago just because they're home and they got to win 1 or 2 games in theory. But yeah, I don't have any faith. I would take the under on every freaking game of theirs all year, by the way. So, but yeah, I won't be watching this.
AB,
look, take the in theory part out of it. They have to win this game. They have to win this game. Matt Nagy has to win this game. If they start 0-2 and they lose the home game against the Cincinnati Bengals, buddy, like, I mean, literally, like, you're starting to look like at USC, like, are they going to do that to me? Like, are they going to leave me on a tarmac like Clay Helton? So I'm just playing the numbers here. Like, they have to win this game. I think Justin Fields is going to get on the field way much more than he did because Matt Nagy knows in Andy Dalton's last 23 starts, he's lost 17 of them. Get this man out of the game. And the Bengals offense, while good, I like Joe Burrow, it wasn't fantastic against Minnesota. Like, I think the Bears defense can have a little bit better of a game. So, yeah, it's a must win in Chicago.
I worked with a lot of former coaches when I was at ESPN and a lot of former NBA coaches. They would come still getting paid out and just wanted to stay relevant, have their face on TV. The only thing that makes sense of what Matt Nagy is doing is that he wants to get fired and just collect his check sitting at home because it makes no other sense that he would have such a talent with his job clearly on the line and you're going to hitch your wagons to Andy Dalton. That's what you're going to do? It makes no sense. It makes no sense. Yeah. And sometimes the easiest thing to do is what's right in front of you. Do what you're supposed to do. play Justin Fields.
I want to make a comment on this one. It might surprise people because I see the comments in the chat too that Cincinnati is being slept on big time. I actually tend to disagree. So we've talked about if you follow the early edge when we talk about baseball, right? You rarely get to bet the Yankees money line. It's changed a little bit this year, but rarely get to bet the Dodgers. Rarely bet some of those teams because there's 1 to 3% baked into that line already because sportsbooks anticipate that action. This Bengals team, especially after this last game here, they are inflated by at least a point in the betting market. A lot of speculation around them. They're simply inflated. I'm not saying they're going to win the game here. Not saying that I'm going to bet them in this game, but they are inflated. They are very much a team that has the attention of the public. Sportsbooks are very, very much aware of that. So just caution a little bit with that, but I can tell you with not just my model, but several of the others that are very highly respected. I think that they all kind of have the consensus that this is a public team that is a little overvalued.
Yeah, I back up Mikey on that. They were 3.5 on the look ahead, this line, and it's down to 3 because the Bears look bad, but everybody likes the Bengals based off of that one game coming out of overtime. And it's going to get down to 2.5. Matt was saying he might have to be on the Bears if he gets to 2.5. It's going to get there. It's -3 plus 100 now on Caesars. So I would be on it at 2.5 as well. I was encouraged by a lot of what the Bears did in the first half, and then they fell apart in the second half. So this is going to be easier matchup for them. Bengals won outright as a home dog, played a full extra period of overtime. It seems like this is the good time to fade them with the public kind of in on them, like Mike was saying.
You guys have given such good information, Mikey and RJ, but unfortunately, a lot of our viewers didn't hear any of it because of what the lady killer just did. And they said they can't get the image of me in a Speedo out of their head and focus and concentrate. Oh, my goodness. Sorry, George. We can't control what Maddie says. Oh, but basically, be careful with Cincinnati. That's what we're saying. All right, let's move on. We're having a good time today. We're going to go through all 15 games. Pound that like button. We're very, very close. We're going to give away a year-long sub to SportsLine. If we get to 200 likes, we're going to give away 2 free. Now, this helps with our algorithm. It helps with our numbers. It helps a lot. Also, even if you're a member of SportsLine, 2 things. Help somebody else win, but also we're giving away an extended version, an upgrade, so you can still win even if you're a member of SportsLine already. So pound that like button. All right, here we go. Broncos and the Jags. Denver coming off a very impressive win on the road in the Meadowlands over the Giants. They go on the road again, this time to Jacksonville, giving 6. The total sits at 45.5. And Mikey, let's start with you.
Yeah, this one's tough here. This Jaguars team, they obviously did not look good. I ended up betting the over because the defense is so bad. But as of right now, I don't have anything on this game. I think that the Broncos are inflated. The issue at that is I think they probably still go in there and win this game and probably win it by a touchdown. It's one of the in my head here versus the model here. Model's going to tell you that there's a little value. It is a tough spot. Severance mentioned it. It is not a great environment for them to play in traveling here. I know they've already traveled a little bit, but it's going to be hot in Florida and second week of the season here. I think this number should probably be 4.5. I think 6 is a little extreme. That said, I'm not going to bet it as of right now because I do not trust Urban Meyer to even be frankly as good as the computer will say that he should be. So I'm out. If I miss out on it, stuff happens.
Look at that number that Johnny just threw up there. Teddy Bridgewater, 22-3 against the spread on the road in his career. That is the best in NFL history. Why are we not, guys, and anybody can jump in here, more bullish on Teddy Bridgewater?
I just don't like this number. I completely agree with Mike here. The number is gross. This game is going to be gross, and there's going to come a point where the Jaguars are going to be terrible, but Trevor Lawrence isn't. And he's going to backdoor some cats, kind of what Joe Burrow did last year before he got hurt in Cincinnati. There's going to be some scary numbers out here, and I think this is kind of one of them. I think the Broncos win the game. The Jaguars have lost 16 straight games. 16 straight. But a number of 6, it's gross to me.
Yeah. All right. Moving on. One of our top 5 games of the week, according to me. 49ers on the road again. I'm sure when they saw the schedule, guys, and they said, we got to travel to the Eastern time zone the first 2 weeks of the season. Who doesn't like us in the NFL office? But they took care of business in Detroit, although they did not cover the spread. One of the worst bad beats you will ever see in the NFL. They scored 16 points in the final 2.5 minutes to cover by a point. Detroit did. That's crazy. But the 49ers are not giving 9 this week. They're giving 3.5. The Eagles looked really, really good on the road in Atlanta last week. The total sitting on 50. AB, let's start with you.
Yeah, the injury to Raheem Mostert, him being out for the season, concerns me. And especially with Trey Sermon, who was ruled, inactive last week simply because he wasn't as good. They're going to need him this week. Look, I think the 49ers are a better team offensively. I think they're a better team defensively. I think that there could be a little bit of regression with the Philadelphia Eagles, but they're a scary team, and Jalen Hurts is a scary quarterback. A number this low, I ride with the 49ers here, but again, the running back position does give me caution.
Yeah. I'll jump in here. I think this game is nearly identical to the Rams and the Colts. I think that if you're getting 3.5 to 4 with the home dog here, I think that that's probably the sharper play. Under 3, I think that you're fine betting San Francisco if you like them, but I think that these situations are very, very similar. And the 49ers team, they do have some concerns. They have a little drama going on too with Brandon Ayuk, who is clearly very, very talented. And I think there's just a lot of drama there, and brutal travel schedule, as you mentioned, cannot be, I know it's early in the season, but it really cannot be overstated in this league.
If this was week 6, week 7, I'd probably be like, yeah, this travel's a big deal. I don't know if it is now. I don't put too much stock into San Fran letting Detroit back in that game as a backup defense. They knew they were going to win the game. I don't want to overrate how good Philly looked against a bad team, in Atlanta. But any team that wins by that score on the road, you have to take notice of it. But this defensive front is much tougher test for Philly's offensive line. I talked up Jalen Hurts. I think he can have a big performances against bad defenses, but 49ers do not qualify as that. So could be a struggle game for here. I want to like Philly more. I'm just a little worried about how Hurts performs. So I would lean to Philly as well, but I'm not rushing to take him.
I want to educate the people at home real quick, because a lot of people over in the comments say, Coach, if people got in the first line -8, that wasn't a bad beat. Well, it was still a push, and that would have felt like a bad beat. But RJ, what is the percentage of bettors that wait until Sunday to put their picks in?
I think most public bettors are waiting. They're really focused on, because they're betting a lot of things. So they're betting the Thursday game, then they want to see how that goes, and they're going to bet their Saturday college teams. And they want to see how that goes. Then on Sunday they wake up, they get their breakfast, they get their coffee, and then they start looking at who to bet. So I think most people are waiting till Sunday. But if you're in this to make money, you got to bet whenever the value is. So you bet early in the week if you perceive that the line's going up or down. And if you would have done that, you'd have got 7.5 with San Francisco. So if you were taking San Francisco, you better take it early, because I put on Twitter, like once it got to 9, I was like, do not take San Francisco here. It's 5 minutes before the game starts, so I'm not going to put anything on Sportsline. But if this line was available 3 days ago, I'd have took the Lions. So
I would encourage all of you to follow all of my guys on social media, because they're always tweeting out little nuggets, little things that could help you leading right up as RJ into kickoff. But I don't know the exact number. But I would say 85 to 90% at least wait until Sunday. I still wait until Sunday sometimes. But being with this team, I'm much better on my money management, and it allows me, because I'm not always chasing, to get the bet in and have the money in my account without always restocking it. So money management is everything in this business. All right, let's move on. Another one of our top 5 games of the week, the Bills. They looked awful at home. Everybody's talking about Super Bowl. Josh Allen, brand new contract. He's going to be in Buffalo forever. And they laid a big old flat egg. They only scored 16 points at home. The Steelers beating them by 7. They travel this week to Miami. RJ, I want you to talk about this one first. They're laying 3.5 on the road against a Dolphins team who won on the road last week. The total sitting at 47.5. What do you got?
So let's look at this compared to the last game. San Francisco Detroit was also 3.5, or San Francisco Philadelphia was also 3.5. And why I think people are that high on San Francisco this year, they'd be okay putting him in Buffalo's tier. Considering that the Bills were considered one of those second-tier teams behind the Chiefs and the Bucs. I don't think anybody thinks Philly and Miami are equals, right? That just seems like Philly's definitely a tier below. They're expected to win like 6 games, and Miami's win total was 9.5. So, I mean, those two teams aren't equal. So this tells me that one or both of these lines are off by a decent amount. I think it's a better chance that it's this one. I think the Dolphins are probably should be getting fewer points at home. Buffalo offense had a tough matchup in week 1, but matchups didn't matter last year. I mean, they were at home and they were just crushing everybody. So it didn't, for them to come out and lay a dud against even a good defense, I'm a little worried. We're going to see some significant regression from the Buffalo offense this year. And when I say significant, I don't mean they're going to be bad, but they might be like a top 10 unit as opposed to a top 2, top 3 unit. But that could be made up by the Buffalo defense. They played really well in week 1, and I did expect to step forward with what they did in the offseason. That could balance some offensive regression, but I think we're kind of underrating the Dolphins on this line. They traditionally been underrated at home. So with the hook, I mean, I think that's the way you got to lean here.
The over last 5 games is 5-0 between these two teams, but the Bills have won all 5. The Bills have won all 5. We do have a question from the chat, and Maddie, I'm going to bring it to you because you always bring this up. Aaron Eggleston says, is it smarter to wait now that we are dealing with COVID? Maddie?
I think so. I mean, it didn't really affect last week, but as RJ said, about 10 minutes for a kickoff, a couple of lines moved that ended up working in my favor. The Broncos were 1 and the Dolphins were 1. But then, like I said, with the next game, we're going to hit the Saints-Panthers. If a team is going to get hammered early in the week by something like this, and it's the chance that it could drop several points, I jumped on against the Panthers for the Panthers now just because of that possibility. So it kind of works both ways. If the opponents, obviously dealing with something bad, you take advantage of it. Otherwise, I think you need to wait till at least after Wednesday when all the testing is done to be clear. After Wednesday, then you can't get back in case you miss the 5 days. So that'd be my answer.
By the way, is anybody else shocked that Maddie actually has the rundown in front of him and he's following it?
What's a rundown?
Yeah, I mean, I'm shocked. I'm absolutely shocked. All right, let's move on now. We've got the Saints and the Panthers, another one of our top 5 games of the week. And I think the Saints, guys, were the most surprising team last week because of how Jameis Winston played, threw 5 touchdowns, throwing dimes, hitting guys where they're supposed to get hit, going up with the big tight end. And then on the other side, the Packers were just horrendous, scoring just 3 points, 38-3, and they played that game in Jacksonville. So can the Saints back it up? And we've got guys on this show right now that differ in opinion. So I want everybody weighing in now. And Maddie, we'll start with you, and then everybody, let's just jump in because everybody has a differing opinion. Maddie, go ahead.
Well, in addition to the COVID problem, their 2 New Orleans best defensive players are out, Marcus Davenport and Marshawn Lattimore, and their starting center's out. So I think the Panthers at 3.5 are a great value. They really do. I think their defense showed way better last week with those 6 sacks. Jameis Winston's not going to do that again. I'm pretty confident in that. So I love the Panthers here.
Yeah, this young Panthers D is making a leap. I thought that they were going to do it at some point this season. 0 points allowed on their first 9 drives versus the Jets. So this line was a pick 'em on the look ahead. And this is why I love week 2. This is the overreaction week where everybody puts too much stock into what happens in week 1. It's one game in the season. If that Saints-Packers game would happen in week 12, this line wouldn't have been 3.5 points different than the look ahead. It would have been, a point, maybe half a point. So Carolina didn't play poorly. I mean, it's fully tied to what New Orleans looked like in that game. Is that the New Orleans team we're going to get week in and week out? I think it's unlikely. That would make them a Super Bowl contender, and I don't think anybody's putting them in the Super Bowl right now. So Carolina's offense is going to be a tough matchup for most teams as long as McCaffrey's healthy. And New Orleans D, they have those defensive issues that Matt was talking about. They're getting Bradley Roby here, and so that's going to stem the tide a little bit. But losing Marshawn Lattimore is a net negative to me in that. Yeah. So I think there's a great chance the markets move this line too far based on the quality of New Orleans win. Love getting the Panthers at home plus 3.5, especially with that hook. Now that it's plus 3.5, I take it now because I think it's going to come back down.
Going on the opposite side here, I'll say this. Jameis had a bunch of touchdowns. You know what he did have? A ton of yards. Like, this Saints offense can get better. And I think that this is going to be a game. And Mike, RJ, Matt, you guys can speak way too more of it than I can. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a little Taysom Hill in this game. I think that this is where they kind of get a little gadgety as well. And, out of all the stats and everything that we gave and said, do the Panthers really want to get in a shootout with the Saints? Like, is that how they're going to win this game? Like, I'm trying to run through my head exactly how they're going to do it. They're going to have to hold New Orleans under 20, right? 25, because I think Carolina's a good football team. But are you going to beat them in a shootout? I mean, Christian McCaffrey could go for 300 yards. So can Alvin Kamara, right? So I can't play it in my head how they completely take out the New Orleans Saints here.
You gotta upgrade that defense in your head then, because that Carolina defense is coming together. I mean, the way that they do it is because that defense shows up, and Taysom Hill gets all gadgety and turns the ball over, and all of a sudden Carolina's walking out with a 19-16 win, some ugly game that nobody would have expected. Drew Brees ain't there. Drew Brees ain't walking in that door. Jameis is going to have an ugly game against a good defense at some point, and might as well be week 2.
I think, to go off of that, and I'll stop so Mike can talk to what RJ said. I think Jameis is in his career 5-5 against Carolina. Like, it's not something great, right? Going back to Tampa Bay. So, I think turnovers are going to play a big part of this game, one side or the other.
Yeah, I think this one's inflated just a touch. I think it should be -2.5 is where it should be, and I think it's going to go back to 3. I agree. The Panthers defense is good here. They may not get into a quote unquote shootout with them because they are going to be running the clock. They're going to be pounding the rock with Christian McCaffrey, giving him a lot of short passes. His usage will be through the roof in this game. But I am worried about the loss of Lattimore. I think that they're going to get behind that defense a time or two. And if I had to play it, I'm not playing this game as of right now, but if I had to play it, I would play it at 3.5 for the Panthers. I'd probably play it at 2.5 for the Saints. It's going to be a competitive game. I think that's one thing that's for sure. And then the only question I have for Matty Severance is, this game is in North Carolina. Would your opinion change if it was in South Carolina?
South Carolina. We'll get to that later in the week, the cock update.
Oh my God. We will not be doing that update later in the week. I can promise you that. All right. We got several more to get to, and I just can't believe how fast these hours go by. I really cannot. All right, let's jump into the oh my God. I think Mikey's up next. Let's go Falcons and the Bucs. The Bucs laying another big number, just like the Browns are this week. It's 12.5 currently, coming off that 2-point scintillating last-second win over the Cowboys last Thursday. The total sitting at 52. And the Falcons, you talk about overreaction. This would be a perfect spot for that. They scored 6 at home. They looked every bit the same Falcons as a week ago. Mikey, what do you think?
This one might surprise you, but I'm actually considering laying it with the Buccaneers here. I think this one should be closer to 14.5, if I'm being honest with you. I know it's a big number with the hook on the 14. I had to downgrade this Falcons team quite a bit. Now they're on the road in a tougher spot yet. They did not look good. I'm very concerned with the weapons that they have. It's very evident. I think we talked about this on all the shows so far too. They miss Julio Jones being out there, especially Calvin Ridley. You take Calvin Ridley away, and you're talking about trying to throw the ball to Kyle Pitts, who's obviously very talented, probably going to have a good career. But it's him, Hayden Hurst, and Mike Davis. Those are the 3 weapons offensively. And you're trying to throw to those 3 targets when you're trailing by a touchdown, most likely. It's not going to go well for them. So it is a big number. It's probably very surprising to see it. But I like this big number a hell of a lot more than I like the Browns' big number.
I do too. Anybody else on this game? Are we moving on?
I agree with him completely. Like I have it as a 13, and so I would, if I was going to play it, I'd play the Bucs. I'm a little bit more bullish on the over. Atlanta had no trouble scoring against Tampa's defense in 2 late meetings last year. Didn't have Julio in either of those games. Russell Gage was catching like 9 balls for 100-something yards. So they could do it against Tampa with that secondary. My only worry is that Arthur Smith, now in town, he gets stubborn and keeps running the ball against this elite front. He ran the ball too much in week 1. So if you do that against Tampa, I mean, you might score negative points in this game. So I think it could get over if he plays it smart, but we'll see.
All right, let's move on. Next game, AB is on this game. The Vikings on the road in Arizona to face the Cardinals, who had one of the more shocking results. Not that they won, but how they won, and the fact that they scored 38 and they held the Titans to just 13 points. And Kyler Murray was dynamic. 4 touchdown passes, also ran for 1. -4.5, a weird number. I hate that number. The total is at 51. AB, you have them at -4. Do you think this is going to go back down to 4, or what do you think?
I think that this number is probably going to be pretty close. Like I think that we're probably spot on. I don't think it's going to get a lot of public attention because you have the Cardinals and you have the Vikings, not 2 huge Cowboys, Steelers, Patriots type teams. So I don't think that this number moves too terribly much. But like we had spoken about earlier, I want to reiterate this, that the Cardinals defense legitimately does not have to change a single thing that they're going to do week 2 from what they did week 1 against Tennessee. Now, I don't think Chandler Jones is going to have 91 sacks, right? But I think that defense is going to get after Dalvin Cook to stop the run first, 2, take away the play action from Kirk Cousins, and 3, demolish him. And that secondary can get after them, get a couple turnovers. And we all saw what Kyler Murray could do. Lastly, the thing to watch is this. If Arizona does to Minnesota what they did to Tennessee, I think that there are serious issues in the Minnesota Vikings locker room that have gone on from training camp with this COVID situation, with Mike Zimmer being upset at a lot of players. Keep an eye on that because that could snowball very, very quickly. So just something to keep an eye on.
Anything else?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Mike.
I'll say I played this one. I gave it out on the early edge this morning, but I'm not playing the spread here. I have a money line parlay with the Washington football team and the Cardinals. I like them on the money line a heck of a lot more than I like the -4.5 here. But it's one that I'm watching closely because I am afraid that Allan's right. If they do roll in this game, while you do have to look at Minnesota, but if they roll like that in this game, we're going to have to be making some pretty meaningful adjustments to their ratings overall going forward. I gave you the Rondale Moore prop. I'm very, very high. I mean, this team offensively can hang with the Kansas City Chiefs. They just simply can. Rondale Moore is very good, very electric, but let's not forget about Chase Edmonds. Chase Edmonds is going to catch balls out of the backfield now. He's going to take a lot of house calls this year. It's going to happen with the way that they're having to focus on DeAndre Hopkins, add that speed element in there with Rondale Moore, who they are going to start using more and more. They are very high on him and for good reason. I think that this team is one that I'm going to look forward and think I probably should have upgraded them sooner. But I'm taking them on the money line in that parlay with the football team, not laying the points this week.
And that parlay is plus money too, so that's always a nice
plus
thing.
131.
There you go, plus 131. All right, we got 4 games to get to, but first and foremost, we need to continue to hit that like button. Also, I need you to leave your Twitter handle in the comment section, and also what your favorite bet is for the week, your favorite game that you want to bet. And we just want to get an idea so we know for shows later in the week. We do have a winner, though. We did get to 100 at DKUCHCINSKI20. I'm not even going to try to pronounce that.
Careful there.
Johnny will reach out to you on social media and let you know how you're going to be a part of our family. Welcome to Sportsline, sir or ma'am. We are welcome. We are excited to have you. Okay, 4 more games to get to, and we got to be rather quick. This is a game that's going to get a lot of attention because Dallas Cowboys games always do. RJ, I'm coming to you. Cowboys on the road. The Chargers coming off that win on the road in Washington, trying to improve to 2-0, their first home game of the year. -3, the total, a robust 55. Your thoughts?
Yeah, Mike hit the nail on the head. This is a Dallas home game in Los Angeles. There's Dallas fans all over the place, and most popular team in America. Chargers don't have any fans in LA. So you look at this line, you think Chargers better be 3 points better than the Cowboys on a neutral. And that team that I saw on Thursday night, they're not 3 points worse than the Chargers. So Chargers did look like a good team. Are they markedly better than Dallas? I don't think so. Dallas, I think, are going to come in, score a bunch of points, and that defense actually played better than I thought they would. Some good play from the secondary in the game. Michael Parsons was making plays, although he did get lost in coverage a little bit, but kind of expect that from him. You take the good with the bad with him. But Cowboys should be favored. Love that money line play. +3 is a safe play. That's my best bet.
Anybody else?
I mean, yeah, I'm on the money line, and I see comments in there. Yes, definitely a big DFS game. Not a DFS show, but I will definitely Dak Prescott double stacked with Amari and CeeDee Lamb, possibly triple stacked with Cedric Wilson. Next,
Mikey, you can always bring up fantasy here on the show. We always. All right, moving on. Titans, Seahawks. And Maddie, you're going to start this one. The Seahawks laying 5.5. And I know AB gave out a money line at -250. And you got to believe, AB, that the juice on this game
is worth the squeeze.
You're damn right it is. All right, so Maddie, -5.5, though, is the spread. The total is 54. Seahawks looked really, really good, just like we said they would. Russell Wilson in the Eastern time zone is great, but now they got to come back home, and they take on a very, very upset, angry Titans team who people were talking about the Super Bowl before the season started. Then they scored 13 against Arizona. Your thoughts on this initial line and or total?
Yeah, I know the Titans got down early against Arizona, but they only ran play action on 11.6% of their offensive plays compared to 36.4 last year. So it's like they didn't even look. Derrick Henry was a non-factor. Seattle's been pretty good against the run. The Seahawks have covered 5 straight in September. This will be another one I'll wait on, but I like the Seahawks covering.
Yeah, I mentioned, Tennessee, Indy might be the best team in the division at this point, if what we saw from Tennessee is legit last week. So if Tennessee and Indy are level, we just make them equal. Seattle was 2.5 3-point favorites at Indy. You would think this line be at least 7 at home when you flip the home field if you're playing even teams. So it seems like this line might be a little short to me.
What worries me, I'll say this. You look at the Titans' offensive line, I don't think Taylor Lewan is quite healthy at all. Chandler Jones got after him. And right tackle, that has been just a sieve since last season. So be careful there. Seahawks defense, you could get a couple props there. They might get after Tannehill quick.
Yeah, I'm interested in Taylor Lewan, too, because he tweeted basically congratulating Chandler Jones on making him look silly in that game. It's like the first time I've ever seen that. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Hey, I'll say this. I've seen every play Taylor Lewan has had since Michigan, just because I live in Nashville, right? This is primed. If he starts poorly, this is primed for a personal foul. So let me just say that those have been an issue early in his career.
Yeah. Mikey, did you have something before I move on?
I was just saying it's probably one that I think is actually a decent teaser play as well, getting it under 6. I think that they're going to – it's very similar to AB on the money line. The Seahawks are going to win this game at home.
If you take that down, you'd be getting a half point, or you essentially just have to win the game. So great teaser spot for that. All right, we got 2 more games to get to before we get out of here on this Tuesday. Week 2 NFL Mega Preview, and it's a Sunday night game for a reason. You got the Chiefs, who Patrick Mahomes said, we won in every single game. But, again, they showed last week they're way too comfortable getting down by double-digit points. It's a problem, and it bit them in the Super Bowl. But they came back and beat the Browns 33-29. They go on the road this week, currently laying 3.5 over a Ravens team that led by 14 in Vegas on Monday Night Football and lost in overtime. So 2 completely different finishes to their game. The total at 55. Mikey, you're my resident Chiefs fan with me. Start the conversation.
I mean, I would not feel great laying 3.5. That's the key number here. Get it down to 3. I think it's okay to lay it. I prefer 2.5. 3.5. I think the Chiefs going to win this game, but I think this thing's going to be very competitive. It's going to come down to the final drive. So that's where I'm at on it right now. I can't play it at 3.5. I could potentially do what I like to do with this team a lot because they get down early in the game. I can live bet this one and bring that number down. I think there will be a point in this game if everything goes the way, Kansas City doesn't march down, score a touchdown initially in this road primetime spot. I think Kansas City's instantly going to drop to -1.5 if the Ravens put a touchdown on the board, which is a number that I'd feel a lot better with. So that's how I'm going to handle it for now. Obviously going to have a lot of DFS showdown content on Sportsline for this one, but I'm going to go ahead and let the market do its thing and see, are we ended up getting the Ravens with 4 or am I getting this down under 3? So
there's a chaos theory here that if the Chiefs get up early, I don't know if the Ravens offense is built to come back. I don't want to overreact to week 1, but seeing John Harbaugh in his eyes and going for field goals, I understand it's towards the end of the game and you've got the best field goal kicker in the league. I don't know how much confidence they have in their offense, and there's something that scares me here. So I'm going to stay away, but I'm keenly watching this Baltimore offense because if they look like that again, it could be trouble there.
To back up what Mikey said, I did do exactly because I listened to him and I get to work with him every single day. So I'm one of the lucky ones. I played the Chiefs and I got him at +2.5 live betting during the game. Then they were down 12 at halftime. So the over in the second half was 27. And if you believe they're going to come back and win, they would have to score at least 14. And they weren't stopping the Browns anyway. So I hit the over in the second half easily and got the Chiefs. So I won a lot on that game as opposed to others who laid the 5.5. All right, guys, last game, Monday Night Football. And this is going to be very, very intriguing. You got just a dumpster fire in the Detroit Lions, and they're traveling to Green Bay. Packers laying double digits, currently -10.5, and the total is at 48. Now, Aaron Rodgers, maybe the worst performance of his career. We'd have to go back and look. But we know as far as fantasy is concerned, he was the worst in week 1. AB, your thoughts on this initial line for Monday Night Football?
Yep, I'll be really quick and just break it down like this. Since 2012, teams that scored 30-plus points in week 1 and lost, when you fade them in week 2, 8-0 against the spread. Take the Packers. Packers will hammer on the Lions.
Okay. Anybody else have thoughts on this one?
I feel like Rodgers is going to be eager to show us in week one that week one was a fluke, in prime time, everybody watching. And I think the defense is going to be eager to show that it was a fluke, and then the Detroit's not going to score points in them. So I expect a full 60 minutes from them, unlike San Francisco against Detroit. An already bad Detroit defense lost former number 3 overall pick Jeff Okudah. How are they going to slow down the pack at all? I can't see them pulling off an outright win in this game. But you could certainly see 41-10. So, I mean, that should make up your mind. If you can't picture the Lions winning, but you can picture the Packers winning by 30, it's pretty easy to see where to go.
Yep. I agree there. I do think that the over might be a decent look in this game. I think that they're going to let Rodgers and company run it up in front of the home fans after such a disappointing finish in that last game. So I think this one could, with a late score by either team. Hopefully they're up by 15 to 18 points, and it's the Lions coming back here for a garbage touchdown. But I would lean towards the over a little bit. I do have some value on this Packers team at this number, but do you feel great about it? I don't know yet. I haven't put it in. I don't think there's any reason to at this point. So I'm going to sit, wait, see what kind of movement we get from the market.
Right. I have a feeling that our props show on Friday will have a few Green Bay Packers in the chamber this week, because whether it's a touchdown prop, whether it's a yardage, whatever it is, Aaron Rodgers, I think, is going to be cut loose this week. I think you guys are right. All right, quickly, 15 seconds. Let's go around the horn. Your initial final thoughts as we head into week 2 before we get out here. RJ, let's start with you and just go right around the horn.
Best week of the season. It's always overreaction week. You can get in some good value on these lines. Love the Cowboys, but love the Panthers specifically with that overreaction play. A few others I was looking at. Jaguars would be a typical spot in here, but I can't play that team.
Maddie?
Yeah, just a lot of numbers that are really at good spots right now. 3s, 6s, 4s. So this will be one I'll definitely be waiting late in the weekend. It was profitable last week, so we'll hope for some more.
Okay, Mikey?
Yeah, love the Cowboys. We'll say right there with RJ as well. The 6 is kind of egregious on that game and the Broncos, but not overly eager to back Urban Meyer there. So probably going to avoid it. Maybe hope that everyone wants to keep talking about how Teddy Bridgewater covers the spread on the road and we get that to 7 somehow. Then I'll fire away. But as of right now, I'm just going to watch.
I mean, I may need to tease it up to 13. I need as many points as I can get for Jacksonville. It's just so ugly.
AB.
Trust your gut. You know football. You watch football. You understand it. Don't overreact too crazy. There's going to be some wild things this week too, but trust your gut. Understand these teams. Do your research. You'll be fine.
All right, Johnny, let's throw that initial plays full screen up there one more time. We gave it at the beginning of the show, and these are the plays the guys like right now before we get to later in the week. RJ, just heard him all over the Panthers, Cowboys, Raiders, Steelers, under. He specifically said, play that under now because it's only going to go down. In fact, during the show, it went down like half a point already. So get that play in. AB's on those 4 plays. Seahawks on the money line, Bears, Cardinals, Saints. Maddie likes the Panthers. I smell a sports line showdown bet by the end of this week. And then Mikey so far just on the Cowboys money line. As a reminder, this morning on the morning show, he gave out Washington money line and the Cowboys money line. Put that together plus 131. All right.
Arizona on that one, Coach. Real quick. It was Arizona and Washington football on that one.
You're absolutely right. My apologies. Thank you. Don't forget, tomorrow, AB and the boys will break down everything college football. And as you know, if you watched last week, they've had a ton of plays, and it's so much fun to sweat all throughout a Saturday with the guys. We'll be back Thursday night, 7 p.m. Eastern time, counting down to Thursday Night Football, the Giants and Washington with all the usual suspects. All right, there's only one more thing to do. You got your marching orders. Let's take all of these tickets straight to the pay window for AB, M Squared. Oh, the lady killer looking good. And my man, RJ White. I'm the coach. We're here every single Tuesday at 5 p.m. Eastern time with your mega preview. Until then, tell your friends that you love the early edge. Good luck. Do you want best bets in your feed every single day? All you have to do is hit that subscribe button to stay up to date with all things Early Edge.